tune in.
Welcome to the newest fantasy football show on the net, The Sideline. What I want to do is focus on some of these big matchups, some of these big games happening around the NFL, and how that is going to affect your starters and some of your main guys that you put on the field. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to week 2 of Sideline, the place to get all of your fantasy football news and headlines. We got a big show for you today, and once again with me is Gerard J. Greasy, Greasy Grimes, Ava the Aviator, ready to take flight. I'm your host, Jimmy Farris, and we're back. And we're going to do a little something different this week. What I want to do is focus on some of these big matchups, some of these big games happening around the NFL, and how that is going to affect your starters and some of your main guys that you'd put on the field. Let's start off with this first big game of the week. It's Houston at the Redskins. Doesn't really appear to be a big game, not a division game or anything like that. But Houston has a couple big-time players in Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson. Some guys that can really put up some points for you. So let's talk about that. And what do you think about that going up against, what can be a tough Redskins defense at times, but other times can look pretty porous?
Funny, tough Redskins defense. I haven't heard that since Way-Younge back in the day. Andre Johnson,
Tell your age, huh?
he should have 100 yards. He's against D'Angelo Fall. So I'm sorry, Crispy. I had to do it. You made me mad sometimes.
He's still bitter about those Falcons days.
I'm still bitter, man. Four games you cost us, really? Yeah, I'm mad.
Really?
Stop touching me.
Hey, but let's go to the other side of the ball. What do you think about the Redskins with Chris Cooley, Donovan McNabb, all that hook up there? What do you think about them?
Well, I mean, I used to be a Philly fan, but then I had to leave them. So, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Well, considering that the Eagles are not playing in that game, it's the Redskins and wow.
Oh my God!
That's what happens when you like the Vikings. That's what happens.
That just happened.
Hey, I'm a woman.
She didn't get enough coffee this week. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the second game. We've got Baltimore going to Cincy. Now, this is kind of a grudge game. This is always a big-time game in the AFC. But we've got our main man, TJ, Who's Your Mama, House Your Mazzoli, Championship.
Did you say his name correctly?
House Mazzoli playing against his former team. You know this guy wants to have a big game.
People always say the Ravens defense. They always say that. People are sleeping on Cincinnati's defense. Those two corners,
Adam Pac-Man Jones
and Pac-Man are arguably the two best in the league.
I'm going to tell you what I want to talk about, though. I'm going to tell you what I want to talk about. That vaunted Baltimore defense has got to figure out a way to deal with Carson Palmer, Ocho Cinco, Tino, Cedric Benson, Jermaine Gresham. Cincinnati's offense is jam-packed with superstars. Can they really put up enough points on Baltimore's defense to win that game when you know Baltimore's going to put up some points?
Baltimore's going to put up points. They do have 2 to 3 good receivers.
Ray Rice running the ball.
Ray Rice does run the ball, and he does not fumble like Adrian Peterson.
Todd Heap is a good valuable option.
Tight end.
But the Bengals have Johnny Jones.
That's a good point. I'll give you that. And Dhani Jones.
How?
Well, no. But they do have.
Why make? Let's go. Look, this is going to come down to defense. That's all it is. Defense wins championship. Baltimore won with Trent Dilfer as a quarterback. Chicago almost won with Mr. Nobody as a quarterback.
Very true.
It's all going to come down to defense. Whose defense is going to step up? Is Ray Lewis going to be Ray Lewis, or is he going to show his true age of 95? What's going to happen?
But truly, very early in the season for week 2, this is a big game in the AFC. It's a potential playoff matchup down the road. So, there's some big implications here outside of just the fantasy realm. The last game I want to talk about, huge game.
Game of the
big time game. Game of the week. Could potentially be depending on how this thing rolls out,
AFC Championship
is
game.
another AFC Championship type game. We've got New England going to New Meadowlands Stadium to face Rex Ryan, Hard Knocks, Darrelle Revis, Mark Sanchez,
Don't forget about
Daniel
Don't forget about the guy on the other side of Darrell.
Antonio Cromartie,
Can't forget about him.
Mr. I won't tackle anybody, but no, I'll give you that. Crow's a good. He's good. He's good.
serviceable. He's better than
The
what he is.
point is, what are those guys going to be able to do against this Patriots passing attack? Because I don't care who you are. Tom Brady is a surgeon.
Yes.
Randy Moss is still a monster,
Still.
and Wes Walker will still catch 35
Time out.
balls any given
Time
day.
out. How many yards did Randy Moss have last year on Darrell Reeves?
Darrelle Revis shut Randy Moss down. He shut everybody down.
Exactly.
But-
So, do you
but-
expect anything different?
No, I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because one of the reasons why the Patriots were not a top flight offense last year didn't have anything to do with Randy Moss. It had to do with the fact that Tom Brady was still not comfortable on that surgically repaired knee. So this year, he's had a whole nother offseason, a whole other training camp.
He's fresh.
They looked great. You saw him come down and cut up the Falcons in the preseason.
First of all,
They
he
look great in
played,
the
he
preseason.
played against our second and third string, and they're not on the team anymore.
Well, look,
So, come on now. Let's stop talking bad about
the
them.
pick from me, from the former Patriot. I'm taking Tom Brady. I think they're gonna cut up the Jets.
And you say I'm a homer. This
Well,
guy here.
I mean, hey,
come on now.
Listen, I love the Falcons too. I'm just saying, in this game, I'm taking Tom Brady.
Go ahead.
I don't think I know the aviator over here. She's partial to Mark Sanchez. He's got a cute smile. She likes the way he
You
flips
flick his
his
head
hair.
dots on his
Whatever.
face.
She
He
likes.
probably has like a little small
There's
giraffe
nothing
on this
wrong with
side.
that.
She likes the way he
I don't know if you like
smiles.
licking speed bumps.
She likes the way he winks at his players. But
Just needs to pro.
what do you think about that? I mean, it's obviously a big matchup in the AFC East. New England's got to go to New Meadowlands Stadium. I mean,
I'm going with the Patriots. They have the history. They have Tom Brady. I mean, what can you say?
the only question I have about the Patriots is that defense.
Yes.
Can Mark
Young
Sanchez
defense.
take care of the ball enough, not throw picks, and be smart enough to continue to hand the ball off to not only Sean Green, but his newest weapon, LT. First ballot Hall of Famer.
Wait a minute. Did you say new weapon or new warmer?
New weapon.
Okay.
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, my only question is, can Brandon Edwards hold on to the ball? That's all I need.
My only
to know.
question is Brandon Edwards ever going to cut his beard. Okay,
I like the
that
beard.
thing
It
is.
makes him look,
that-
mature.
no.
and
He looks like Genghis Khan. Cut him out.
So we got a couple big games on the schedule for next week. Obviously, those are going to affect some of your fantasy matchups. But me, as I've argued with Gerard so many times before, I play my guys. If you're playing the number one running defense and I got the number one running back, we going with it. Because when I played, coaches never shied away from that. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to throw it all over the field. So play your guys, whoever you got, whoever you like, guys that were good for you last week. Play them, start them, believe in them. And that's all that's going to be said about it. Well, guys, that's going to do it again for week 2 here on Sidelines. Again, hope you got all the info and all the news that you need. And check back with us next week. We'll be right here. Good luck this week and keep it rolling. For our final words, again, Gerard, do you have another great quote for us?
I have
or what
one
do you got?
for you. Just remember, you give a man a match, he'll be warm for a minute. But you set his ass on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Have a good one.
Wow. Ava, take flight.
Yeah, I'm just representing for the ladies. I want to say, ladies, tune in. We do watch football too. X chromosomes. Holla next week.
You got a Z.
Given the fact that Ava's breakout player was Tim Tebow and he's a third-string quarterback. Anyway, my final words.
I believe in
My
miracles.
final words. NFL, no 18-game season, not gonna happen. Peace out. We'll see y'all next week on Sideline. One more thing, really quickly. Send us your comments, emails, news, notes, whatever you guys want to say to us. If you want to pick on Ava, you want to pick on Gerard, you
Don't
want to
do
praise
it.
me.
I'll break your heart.
MySidelinetv.com. You can get all the info and you can send us all your comments and emails right there. MySidelinetv.com. We'll see you next week.
Bring it on.
Big out. Peace.
Ava.
T-Bone, really?
Don't hate.
Really?
I
Have you been
believe-
watching?
No, Jimmy Fair, what it do? You know that's the hose. We on the 50-yard line, 50 more to go. My Sideline TV on repeat. Win the Super Bowl and never leave my fantasy. And if you gotta work, well, you should call off. They not like pre-song shout that they don't fall off. Here we go. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 Here we go. It's time to tune in. It's time to tune in. Here we go. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 It's time to tune in.